The day I met Madison, I thought my life was a movie. We bumped into each other at a coffee shop. Cliché, I know. I spilled my latte all over her white blouse, and instead of getting angry, she just laughed. That laugh, it was like music. From that moment, I was hooked. We spent the next 2 years building a life together. We traveled. We adopted a goofy golden retriever we named Buddy. We turned a house into a home. I thought I knew everything about her favorite movies, the way she hums when she's happy, the little scar above her eyebrow from a childhood fall. I thought our love was unshakable, a fortress. But fortresses can be built on faulty ground. The first crack appeared subtly. It was a late-night text she quickly hid. "Wrong number," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I let it go. Who was I to doubt her? Then there were the work dinners that stretched into the early hours of the morning. The sudden need for privacy when she took calls, the way she'd flinch if I glanced at her phone. I started to feel like a stranger in my own home, a ghost haunting the edges of a life that was no longer fully mine. I tried to talk to her, to understand what was happening. Each time, she'd turn it around. Was I not trusting her? Was I being insecure? She was a master at making me feel like I was the problem. I started to question my own sanity. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe the stress of my job was getting to me. I wanted so desperately to believe her, to get back to that easy, beautiful love we once had. I clung to the image of the woman who laughed when I spilled coffee on her, hoping she was still in there somewhere. The gut feeling, though, it's a powerful thing. It's a quiet alarm that you can try to ignore, but it never really turns off. Mine was screaming, so I did something I never thought I'd do, something that felt like a betrayal in itself. One evening, when she said she was going out with friends, I decided to follow. My heart was hammering against my ribs, each beat a painful thud of dread. I watched her drive not to the trendy downtown bar she mentioned, but to a quiet residential street on the other side of town. She pulled up to a neat little house with a perfectly manicured lawn. She didn't even knock. She used a key. I parked down the street, my hands shaking on the steering wheel, my world tilting on its axis. A few minutes later, the front light turned on, and I saw a silhouette in the window. 2 silhouettes. They embraced. The kind of embrace we used to share. In that single soul-crushing moment, my fortress crumbled. Ow. It didn't just crack, was obliterated, turned to dust. The man was my old college friend, Ryan. The one who was the best man at his own wedding just last year. The one who had come over for barbecues with his wife, laughing and joking with Madison and me. The betrayal was a double-edged sword, slicing through not just my love, but my friendship. Everything was a lie. Our weekends, our dinners, the knowing glances I thought were just between friends, it was all a charade. I drove home in a daze, the world a blur of streetlights and tears. Buddy greeted me at the door, tail wagging, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. I sat on the floor, his head in my lap, and I just broke. The woman I loved, the life I had built, it was all an illusion. When she came home hours later, humming that happy tune, I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I was eerily calm. I just looked at her and said, "How was Ryan's place?" The color drained from her face. The mask she had worn for months, for who knows how long, finally fell away. And in its place was not the woman I fell in love with, but a stranger. A stranger who had shattered my heart into a million pieces. The conversation that followed was a blur of excuses, apologies that felt hollow, and tears, hers, not mine. I was all out of tears. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. Packing her things felt like packing up pieces of my own past. Every photo, every souvenir, was a painful reminder of a happiness that was never truly real. Moving on isn't a straight line, it's a messy, chaotic scribble. There are days I feel strong, and there are nights I feel an overwhelming sense of loss for the future I thought I was going to have. It's a profound, lonely journey. But here's what I've learned. You can't let someone else's betrayal define your worth. Their actions are a reflection of them, not of you. Healing is about reclaiming your own story, about finding strength in your own survival. It's about learning to trust your gut, to build a new fortress on a foundation of self-love and respect. It's about knowing that even after the most devastating storm, the sun will eventually rise again. My movie isn't over. It just has a plot twist I never saw coming. And now, I'm the one directing the next scene. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, remember you're not alone. Stick around for more content on healing and finding your way back to you.